Boxing Ego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. 1. Keith Thurman finally admits Errol Spence is the number 2 welterweight and explains why most likely he's not going to fight him this year. Stay tuned. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chats channel donations, the Venmo donations, and the Patreon family. We working. And shout out to Yahoo Sports, Kevin Iole. He's been getting busy with the interviews. Link is in the description. Make sure you guys give it a thumbs up and a view, and check out this interview Yahoo Sports did with Keith, one-time Thurman, only guy at welterweight with 2 belts. And he talked about a slew of things. I want to give some insight, paraphrase, things like that. The most interesting question, the $1 million question right now, is Keith Thurman, will you fight a guy like Errol Spence Jr. or Terrence Crawford? More so Errol Spence Jr. because they're on the same side of the fence. They both have the same advisor. They both have recently fought on Showtime, etc. So even though the Crawford fight's good, it has to take a back burner because you don't know if politics and logistics make sense to take Crawford off of ESPN, move him to Showtime, take Thurman off of Showtime, move him to ESPN. It's just more work, right? So the focus, and also Errol Spence, he's really been calling out Keith Thurman like heavily. And like I said, they're on the same side. Don't get it twisted. Terrence Crawford called out Thurman too, but again, he's not on the same side of the fence. So when Kevin starts talking to Keith Thurman, he said pretty much the more of the same stuff. He says, I know it's a good fight. I know you guys want to see the Errol Spence Jr. fight, but this is my get back year. And I don't know what it is. I never heard of that particular term, but I don't like the get back year term. You know what I mean? It almost sounds like he took a loss and now he's coming back from that. But that's not the case. He's undefeated. You know what I mean? But he coined this term, this get back year. And he also talked about his injury. He said he had bone spurs, and he knew that going into the Danny Garcia fight. He told his doctor, like, yeah, just give me cortisone shots or whatever is needed so I can perform for one more fight, and then I'll get the surgery after. And he says he got the surgery. Most likely he's not fighting Jesse Vargas. And he says he probably won't even fight somebody in the top 10. Right? That's his words. You go listen to the interview. He says, but we'll have to see what we negotiate. I mean, all of these signs don't sound like the Keith Thurman that I followed for years. You know what I'm saying? He's also talking about he hasn't fought 2 times a year for a while. So he's going to slowly kind of usher it back in because he hasn't been fighting that active. But I'm not really a fan of some of the things that I'm a fan of Keith Thurman, but I'm not a fan of what he's been saying lately. Because you got to even look at it. Like, let's say Floyd Mayweather Jr. Floyd made more money in the game than Keith Thurman and really any welterweight, right? You know what I mean? Highest paid. He was fighting the Cottos and Shane Mosleys and stuff. And if you remember, a lot of times he was in mid-30s or whatnot. He was fighting about 1 time a year at that stage of his career. After he knocked out Ricky Hatton and he took the long layoff, 2 years almost, came back, fought Juan Manuel Marquez. Go to his box rec and you'll see around that time he was fighting like 1 time a year. I remember Miguel Cotto was his only fight that particular year, and then he went to jail for that domestic violence thing, right? But he left HBO. Floyd Mayweather left HBO, did I think a 6-fight deal, multi-fight deal with Showtime Network, Switch Networks, and guess what? At mid-30s to late 30s, depending on what year, Floyd Mayweather went from being a guy who had brittle hand injuries and stuff like that, and predominantly fighting 1 time a year at that age, to fighting 2 times a year. I remember the year he fought Robert Guerrero was the same year he fought Canelo Alvarez, right? And one was his mandatory, Guerrero, and Canelo was just a champion at 154, you know what I mean, undefeated. So he all of a sudden jumped right into it, you know what I'm saying? And then he fought Maidana twice in a year. So that's what he did. Pacquiao and Berto, those were the same year where he fought those. So for Keith Thurman, all this get back here, I don't know all the details, how severe this elbow injury was, but he's been off 11 months. By the time he fights, he'll probably be off 14 months. It doesn't seem like you would have to take it so lightly where you can't fight a guy in the top 10. And it almost backfires what Keith Thurman is saying, because he's, in a sense, to me, acting like he is this generation's Mayweather in terms of like, I'm the name, I'm the guy, I unified, I got the 2 belts, no one else has that, I'm the big dog. So naturally people are going to expect more from the big dog, you know what I'm saying? Like, and on one half you're saying that you have 2 belts, so naturally they're gonna have a bullseye on your back because other people, they want to fight you for those 2 belts, you know what I'm saying? So it seems weird. And in this interview, Keith Thurman, he says something sometimes in camp he be PMSing. The talk from Thurman has just been different. That's the best way to put it. It sounds different. Like, I remember I'm not gonna say angry Keith Thurman, but almost, you know what I mean? You better not duck me, Thun. You know what I mean? And he was like, yeah, we burning money. That's the Keith Thurman I remember. But anyway, he's talking about Errol Spence Jr. and it's more of what he's been saying. He says everybody wants to see the fight. I know they want to see the fight. It'll be a good fight. Errol Spence is the number 2 guy, and obviously he's saying he's the number 1 guy at welterweight. Fine. I mean, he has a better resume at the moment than Errol Spence Jr. He has more belts. So cool. He's going to say he's number 1, Errol's number 2. Fine. You know what I mean? Until we see Terrence Crawford at welterweight, we don't truly know where he stands at welterweight. So fine. They're the number 1 and 2. And shout out to Kevin Iole. He asked some good questions, and one of the questions was, he said, Bob Arum coined this term, let the fight marinate. And he said it in regards to Juanma Lopez versus Yuriorkis Gamboa. He said, fast forward to the future, we never even got that fight. Now, new media, and I'm not trying to take credit, but I take pride in what I do and being real. This sounds like a new media point. This sounds like the stuff that I've been telling you guys on my videos. And I'm not saying Kevin Iole copied me or anything like that, but I'm just saying these are the type of talking points that I've been telling you guys. Boxing is fickle. You never know what's going to happen in boxing. So all that, Wilder, Joshua, let it marinate, and Thurman, Spence, let it marinate, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, within reason, maybe take a tune-up or something, but the whole marinating, like Canelo Golovkin, we could have got that in 2016. Fans were angry we didn't get it in 2016. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm not a fan of this whole let it marinate, because we've seen fights that never actually happened and never took place as a result of quote unquote letting it marinate. And or you let it marinate and then something else unexpected happens. Like, everyone wanted to see Mayweather and Pacquiao. Pacquiao hadn't been knocked out in quite some time. You know what I mean? Definitely since his historic rise and moving up all these weight classes, and then he gets knocked out in December by Juan Manuel Marquez. So in the eyes of some, the fact that Floyd fought him after that, you know what I mean, that might have taken the fight down a little bit. You know what I mean? Just because they wanted to see Floyd if he can knock him out or whatever, right? Paul Williams, shout out to the Punisher. He was supposed to, see, you young bucks that listen to mumble rap and stuff, you probably don't know. This was probably before your time. I be with the dope with the bushes and bushes the bushes with the right? All you mumble rap motherfuckers, you probably won't remember this, but Paul Williams was slated to fight Canelo Alvarez when Canelo was maybe 19, 20. He was young. I don't know his exact age. And guess what? He got in a tragic motorcycle accident that left him paralyzed. Now, God forbid that happens to any other boxer and things like that. But I'm just saying, you never know what happens in life. So I don't like this whole marinating. And Keith Thurman, if you listen to this interview, he sounds content. He even says something like, oh yeah, we could let it marinate and become bigger, and you put money in the bank, I put money in the bank. I'm gonna keep saying this because I know that I'm just annihilating all of the excuses that I've heard from fans. Nobody is expecting Keith Thurman to immediately come back off of a 14-month layoff and an injury, and his first fight back fight Errol Spence Jr., as he says, the number 2 guy. Nobody that I've seen that is wanting to see the fight has demanded that from Keith Thurman, right? But even in this interview, Kevin Iole says, Errol's probably going to do a hometown fight in June. You got to fight in May against somebody, whoever. Why can't y'all fight in September or, late 2018? And then again, Keith Thurman goes back to it's a get back year, and I got to work my way back up to fighting 2 times a year. It just to me, it sounds like Keith Thurman maybe got married and domesticated. It just sounds complacent. He doesn't sound as hungry. I knew there was a problem when I heard they had a Errol Spence Jr. and Keith Thurman on a Showtime telecast in between a fight. I forgot what fight it was. And Keith Thurman said something, and it's like he caught himself saying something. And then I think he might have cleaned it up a little bit. But initially, he had made a statement like, oh, you see Errol Spence, he's still hungry. He's hungry right now. My belly is full, or he said something like that. And I'm like, so you're just gonna admit the guy who's down your throat calling you out, pause, is basically hungrier than you. You know what I'm saying? And it just sounded weird for him to say that. And even in this interview, he's saying something to the effect of Errol Spence just got his title. But who cares about that? You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody cares. If the fact is, he's a champion now. You know what I mean? Terrence Crawford's probably going to fight Jeff Horn, who just got a title too. But that doesn't take away from that's a good fight that Top Rank can make. You know what I'm saying? Crawford moving up. Horn had recently got the title and had a title defense. So, you know what I mean? That doesn't really, who cares? The fact of the matter, because if you think about it, he keeps saying, it's just all over the place. Like, he's saying that he's the unified champion with 2 belts, which is the absolute fact. But he just got that second title. So if you're going to just say that, oh, Errol Spence, he just became a champion, well, you just became a unified champion. So, you know what I'm saying? And that's what that's what Keith Thurman keeps referencing as to kind of like, I'm the man with the master plan type of thing, because I'm the unified. I'm the only guy with 2 belts, but you just got that second belt in March. And I think Errol Spence got his in May. So, none of that matters. A good fight is a good fight, and he keeps admitting that it's a good fight. And he knows it's a good fight because the fans are saying it's a good fight. So, I don't know. I just happen to understand Keith Thurman's recent aim. Tune-up, that's all good. You know what I mean? And I think people, at the end of the day, they want to hear that same vigor from Keith Thurman that they once heard, and definitely the same passion and the same level of desire that we're hearing from Errol Spence Jr. You know what I mean? Errol Spence he said, yeah, let's go. We can line it up. Keith Thurman's making excuses. I'll smoke him easy. I haven't heard Keith Thurman say one almost reckless thing. And Errol Spence is saying some things that could, you know what I mean? You'd be like, okay, you know what I mean? Keep you on your toes. I'll smoke him easy. But everything Keith Thurman said is, oh, good job, young buck. Your time is coming, or be patient. Like, it's just real mild, if you will. So I think at the end of the day, it's not even about fighting in 2018, although that's what people want. It's making people feel secure and comfortable that is part of your plan. And I don't think Keith Thurman's doing a good job of that. Like, the way that Spence is coming at him, and even Crawford, he just sounds very mild in terms of his reply, leading people to believe that he's not as hungry. But it was a very good interview, very good questions from Kevin Iole. And it's the questions that a lot of us have. Like, what's good? Why can't you fight him in 2018? And then you admit that Errol Spence is number 2 in the division. That in itself is a reason. Who cares about this marinating. That in itself is a reason. Like, you should want something he has, because most people think Pacquiao is a little bit washed at this point. He's not the same vintage Pacquiao. And just a couple years ago, not even a couple years, probably a year ago, Keith Thurman was about it, calling out Pacquiao. You know what I mean? Because I made videos about it. You could check them on the channel. So why would you be so down to fight Pacquiao? Of course, it's a legend. It'll probably be a good paycheck and stuff like that. But Pacquiao's small, and he hasn't looked like sensational. You know what I mean? Errol Spence right now looks like he's coming into his prime type thing. Pacquiao isn't. So to me, I don't understand Keith Thurman's aim. Same thing with Danny Garcia. Before Danny Garcia was even moved up to welterweight, Keith Thurman had expressed wanting to fight Danny Garcia. So those fights were not a problem. But when it gets to Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford, Thurman again sounds mild. Link in the description. Let me know your thoughts. But Keith Thurman does admit Errol Spence is the number 2 welterweight, and he explains why the fight won't happen this year and that he probably won't fight someone top 10, but we'll see. Let me know your thoughts. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you smash the like button. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.